Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Comrade Zero Spike back again once again. And today, people, we're here for Avataro Sentai Donbrothers episode 29. There's a lot going on this episode, man. There is a lot going on. It's a lot of just a lot of lore that we got going on in this episode as well, and then a lot of reveals in this episode also, and some stuff we found out some stuff about Jiru, found out some stuff about Murasame. We actually see a bestial get destroyed. Wow. And yeah, so this episode basically starts off with everybody at the cafe, and we see that Tato gets we see that well, no, wait, I'm skipping ahead, I'm sorry. We see that Tato at his job, he a delivering man. So he gets this he has like a big sandwich, right? And he pulls out, so he gets ready to he bites this sandwich. It turns out there's an invitation inside of it, and there's an invitation, and he goes back to the cafe and shows everybody else that he is invited to Sonoi's funeral. So he ends up getting teleported there, and we actually see that throughout the episode we see that a lot of Murasame and a lot of the bestials, we see that our other two Sarah brand, Sonoza and God damn it, what was her name? I just saw it. God damn. Sonoza and White, that's what I used to call her. They're kind of bummed out that they didn't get invited to this wedding. They didn't get invited to this funeral. So they also talk about how what Sonoi told them before he went to go fight Tato, when he said that if I am to fall, then go seek out Don Murasame. And we end up seeing Murasame trying to figure out what he is, who he is, how should he live, things like that. And his mother basically tells him that your only existence is basically just a fight. So yeah, so he does end up fighting Jiru, and he tells Jiru, he ends up fighting Jiru, and then Jiru switches to Don Totobolt. He ends up switching to Totobolt, and Totobolt doesn't want to fight him because he doesn't want to fight someone that already wants to die already. But he still ends up talking to you see that a bestial tries to attack them, and we see Murasame ends up one-shotting this bestial. We did see that we also saw Murasame save one of the grunts from a bestial, because the bestials eat them. So he ends up, and that's where he gets his encounter with Jiru. We see that Jiru ends up talking to, he's in his Totobolt, his Totobolt personality, and he tells him that I fell from the sky, and my only goal was to be the strongest warrior. But then he ended up developing another personality that just wanted to be friends with everybody, and that is the Jiru that we know now. So technically, Totobolt's Jiru is technically the original personality within Jiru, and because of how Jiru lived as a child, he developed this other personality to where we have Don Dragoku. That's where he comes from. So that was actually, I didn't think that we're gonna go that deep when it came down to Jiru. I mean, the whole him having another personality thing, I thought that it was going to be vice versa, where Jiru was the original, but it turns out Totobolt is basically the original Jiru. We did see that we got a but we got a Hitotsuki in this episode, who is based off of Abareja. And he's like he's a guy that's just like, he's like a businessman, all about productivity, telling everybody that, hey, everybody, y'all going slow, y'all moving slow. And he transforms into a dragon like dinosaur, Hitotsuki, and his like a lot of these freaking monsters, he has the power to absorb and eat people, and he's screaming, telling everybody, hey, y'all moving too slow. So also we see that while all this is happening, we see that Tsubasa is being chased by the retired cop guy, who is also a bestial. He's being attacked by him, and we see that Sonoi. We saw that Sonoza and Tsunoni. There we go. I remembered Tsunoni. They saw Murasame destroy one of the bestials, which they're like, oh okay, that's what. So they're like, oh okay, that's what Sonoi was talking about. So we see that while all this is happening, we see that Tato is at this funeral and he's being pampered and taken care of and having like, you know, shenanigans while he's there. And we see that I'm sitting here like, so all these people are Sarah Brand, like all these people are Noto, like, and he ends up eating some of their food, and it turns out their food is like very bland, I guess, because like, I mean, they say that, you know, from what we know about the Sarah Brand, we say, you know, that they are emotionless, kind of personalityless. So I guess that their food tastes bland. It doesn't taste like anything, and it just looks like color. It's just colorful cotton candy. That's all it is. Like seriously, watch the episode. Like, it's just cotton candy. But yeah, so we did see that he finally makes it to the grand, like, you know, ceremony for where they're getting ready to do everything with Sonoi, and he gets mad at the council members. Note that we do meet the council members. There's only 2 of them. I kind of felt like there would at least be 3 or 4 of them. But yeah, you see that, and they're kind of goofy, kind of wacky dudes, but we don't see their faces or anything. But you see that Tato gets pissed off at them and say, hey man, why y'all ruin my sandwich, man? Y'all ruined my sandwich. And he ends up throwing the sandwich at them here and making them eating it as an apology to him. He said, why did y'all put an invitation in my sandwich? It sucked. So we actually see that while the rest of everybody else is fighting this Hitotsuki, we did see that Tsubasa is, yeah, we're fighting this Hitotsuki. They all kind of get like beaten up by it. We see that Murasame ends up, he's like, I'm sleepy, so he ends up leaving. And when he leaves, his sword kind of flies off, and we see that like multiple people get possessed by this by him using his sword, and get possessed by the sword that he's actually in. And we see that Tsubasa ends up getting possessed by it, and he ends up fighting the retired cop guy Bestial, and he fights him and he ends up running off. But that's when Miho shows up and ends up fighting Tsubasa, and I'm just like, oh come on, y'all really doing this? They're right there in front of each other, and Tsubasa has no idea what's going on because he's freaking possessed by this sword. I'm like, man, that's the ultimate. He's like, that was so weird. I was like, oh, y'all really did that? So she ends up fighting him for a while. Like, she's able to do the origami crane stuff. And we see that she's like, Miho's basically a bestial herself, probably. But she's probably like a bestial that kills other bestials, most likely. But we see that she ends up leaving again. And that's when Sonoi and Tsunoni ends up popping up. I mean, Sonoza and Sononi, because, oh god, all 3 of their names start with S's. So they end up fighting Tsubasa because he's still possessed by the ninjak sword, and then they end up getting knocked out of Tsubasa's hand, and it ends up going into Sononi's hand. And after that, Sononi gets possessed, and then Sononi starts fighting both of them, and then we see Sonozai is able to save her from it, and Tsubasa ends up getting teleported to where the others are fighting this Hitotsuki. So while that's happening, we end up seeing that Tato ends up having to fight a kind of a dummy of Sonoi. It's like a dummy of him. It's in his transform state. He's fighting it, and he ends up beating it, and then it ends up he ends up cutting its head off. He ends up cutting its head off. And it ends up picking up his head, putting it back on, but he ends up impaling it. When he impales it, it ends up sucking up all of his energy, and it's sucking up all of Tato's energy, and he dehensions, and he gets sent back to the regular world. So, we'll be more on that later. But we end up seeing that everybody's like fighting this thing. And the sword ends up getting, the Murasame sword, the ninjak sword, it ends up getting like passed on to kind of everybody. Like, it gets passed on to Shinichi Blue. He doesn't get passed on to him, and he even does a haiku while he's in it. Everybody, and when you touch this sword, you kind of get bloodlusted. So he starts attacking everybody, and then that's when Tato gets there, and then Tato's like, "Oh hey," Tato's like, he tries to transform, but he can't transform. So he sees that the sword ends up falling down. He ends up going and picking the sword up, and it re-energizes him. And he hinges back up and ends up using the Murasame sword to destroy the Hitotsuki. And he basically ends up throwing the sword away. After that, we end up getting our mech battle, which ended in less than a minute. And yeah, but what was kind of weird to me was the fact that everybody got possessed by this sword who touched it, except Tato, which makes some kind of sense to me. And here we go. So I feel like the Sarah brands basically created, we know that Murasame has been created. He was created to fight the bestials, but he woke up too early, so he's not complete in a sense. And we know that the woman in his voice, his mother, is also inside of him, so he's also a person with two people in one body. But and she also kind of makes the thing of like, okay, from now on I'll try to better understand what you're saying, because like Murasame is trying to find a different reason to live and stuff like that. Like, he is asking questions like, how should I live, stuff like that. What should I believe in, stuff like that. And we see that, I lost my train of thought. But we see that I feel like they ended up creating, but they were at war with the Dawn Clan, so they ended up creating Murasame, who is basically a Dawn Clan member, but without trying to fight them, in order to defeat the Cerebrand, and or in order to defeat the Bestials. My bad. So that's probably why the sword didn't possess or affect Tato in any negative way, because it's two Dawn Clan members together. That's how I feel. And the whole thing with Jiru, also having Jiru be, maybe Jiru's probably some kind of also a Dawn Clan member, maybe, and that's why him and Jiru basically came from the same place, or they came to Earth in a very similar way. But yeah, and also we see that they use the energy that they stole from Tato. They pour it on Sonoi's body, and Sonoi wakes up. So Sonoi is back to life, and yeah, but there's a lot happening in this episode, man. We had everybody. We had Bestials, Donbrothers, freaking. We meet the council and all that stuff, and also a lot of this stuff may even further who kidnapped Natsumi, and yeah, who basically kidnapped Natsumi, and the person who kidnapped Natsumi may end up being our big bad, our true blue big bad of this series, and it's been here the entire freaking time. But yeah, also no Kaito in this episode at all. I kind of felt bad about that. I like Kaito; he's my favorite character. But yeah, but I know this series is about him, But still, this was a fun episode, man. I mean, there's a lot going on, but it was kind of sporadic. But we got a lot happening, except for that one scene where freaking Tsubasa's possessed and Miho / Natsumi is right there in front of him, and he doesn't know what the heck is going on. I hated that. I hated it. But you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about this episode of Avataro Sentai Donbrothers, and I will see you guys next time. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time. Remember, stay Kenshin. Feels good saying that.